Well, hello there, and welcome to Cruise Control, your on air automotive magazine. Of course, you frequent listeners know us. I'm Les Jackson. That guy is Fred Staub. And once again, we've got lots and lots of stuff from the auto industry. Hey, why not? Because it's big industry and lots of things are going on. So, Fred, I
Yes.
understand that something is actually more popular than Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to have the influential car brand study.
Hmm.
Actually, it was a study of all influential brands. And one car manufacturer is more popular than Coca Cola and McDonald's, which is quite an
Wow.
accomplishment.
Wow. That is an accomplishment. And what about Mini? It's showing off its Countryman all four, which is I like the Countryman. I don't. We've said this before. Neither of us would particularly want to own a Mini, but not for any technical reason. Just doesn't fit. But the Countryman's nice. I like it.
Yeah, it is sort of like a small station wagon, and
Right.
we'll talk a little bit about what's powering it and some of the new technology involved. And they're always improving it. I would say this one, it's kind of losing a little bit of its mininess in the front.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like every other SUV in the front, which is I like the exaggerated bulldog look is my favorite, where it
Exactly.
looks like it has a
Everything's getting
mustache.
bigger.
Yeah,
It's just
bigger and more the same. Which is
yeah. Yeah.
as you said astutely last week that everything's trying to look like a Range Rover.
That's right. The off-road
Yeah, you
look.
got to have that off road look. You never take it off road, but you got to look like it. So,
That's right.
um, also, we're going to talk tech, and Honda is one of the manufacturers that is very interested in fuel cells, and they've come up with a really tightly packaged fuel cell that I think we don't know what they'll drop it into, but it seems like it could go into trucks, vans, cars, SUVs. It's a beautifully packaged item. So we'll talk a little bit about that and kind of think about what they might put it in, right?
I love them. I love fuel cells. I love the physics. I love the whole thing. Anyway, Toyota's solid-state batteries that promise a super long range and quick recharge will roll out slowly, which is the smartest way to roll things out,
Yeah,
frankly.
yeah, I agree. I agree. They'll roll out slowly, and then eventually they'll ramp it up. Toyota does things very smartly, so we'll
Yeah,
talk about that
right.
and get a little more information on that for you. And then sleepers for sale. You like a good sleeper? I'm not talking about sleeper sofas, but the car that just looks like an everyday vehicle, but is fast. And I've heard a lot of legends about these things, but one dealer will sell you an F-150 with 750 horsepower, and you can
Hmm.
get it on the XL model. They showed one with steel wheels and just a plain look, and I would put like a sticker on the side, like a fleet sticker or something, and
Yeah, yeah.
like a toolbox in the back or something where I would have nitrous oxide in it. How's that?
That's perfect. That's perfect. And on the other side of the spectrum, the last Bentley Mulsanne comes home.
Yeah, this was a Mulsanne that was the Queen used. It actually has the royal, what do they call it? The royal standard on it, the royal
Yeah.
crest, and a
Oh, that's a
beautiful.
collector's item.
Oh yeah, and it headed back to the museum at Bentley, and it will be a beautiful car. This one has some features though most Bentleys don't have, including a siren and blue flashing lights, and of course
Very
the royal logo.
well, like I have in my car.
Standard, I believe they call it the
Yeah,
standard,
the standard. You're right.
the royal standard, which is elegant way of putting it. But what a beautiful car in general, right?
It really is beautiful.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that, and then another last um, Crown Victoria. There are still two of them left in service in the New York cab industry, but they're going out of service. We'll tell you why. And one has over 500,000 miles, I believe, and the other one has 400,000. And they're still running. They're still in good shape.
Just remarkable.
Or good enough shape. So
they're running.
They're running. Yeah, they're running. So all that and more when we get going on Cruise Control. And let's just jump into influential brands. Les, do you have any idea which brand of car manufacturer is more popular than Coca-Cola and McDonald's?
Well, the first thing I think most people would say is, well, Ford, because Ford's been around, as long as they have.
But they'd be wrong.
They would be wrong. So,
yeah. Well, this comes from Interbrand. They released their global best brands of 2023. So it's not just car brands, it's brands in general. So it can be anything from shoes to food to cars, right?
Right.
Toyota is the best performing automaker of 2023. It was sixth overall, the sixth most popular brand of the world. And it is just behind some of the biggest companies like Google, Apple, and Microsoft. But they are more popular than Coca-Cola and McDonald's.
And Nike. Yeah.
And Nike. So big brands. But they're synonymous with reliability and, value and many things like that. And that continues on, doesn't it?
Well, that's a great spot to be in because, you're the kind of brand that everyone feels comfortable when you're around. That's what's cool.
Yeah, you're making a big purchase, but you feel like, hey, this is something I'll have for at least 100,000 miles, maybe more. So let's talk about some of the other brands that were automotive brands that were in the global best brands 2023 list. And they include Mercedes, also ranking better than Coca-Cola, and BMW edged out McDonald's. All right. And the other automakers in the list were Honda, number 27.
Okay, no surprise.
Hyundai at 32. Audi 45th. Porsche 47th. Volkswagen 50th. Ford 51st. Nissan 63rd. Ferrari 70th. And Kia 88th. No mention of GM products there. Interesting.
No Chevrolet, no Stellantis products.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But, Toyota, it's an amazing run for this. They've been at the top of this list as far as automakers go. And I think, once they took hold in the country, they never looked back, did they?
No. And they just do everything right.
Yeah. Maybe play it a little safe, but, you know what you're getting. You're getting a solid vehicle.
If Toyota were a surgeon, you would feel comfortable with them operating on you.
That's right. They're not going to do something strange like, hey, I moved your belly button up by your ear because I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
They'll be like, we'll leave it right where it is.
Whereas, Fred, if Tesla were a surgeon,
there'd be loose stuff and equipment left behind and all.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to close you up with, so you'll just have to. I shoved a rag in there, but
that's right. I'll operate on. I'll do it myself.
Instead of stitches, I gave you zip ties.
Just give me a mirror.
That's right. The do it at home kit. Well, So interesting look at those brands. You're listening to Cruise Control. You are on air Automotive Magazine. We're always glad when you come by to check us out. And you can always check us out at our Cruise Control Radio Facebook page and our YouTube page. So we always got a lot going on there. If you miss an episode, you can check it out there as well anytime you like. So it's all good. It's all good. Let's talk a little bit about the Mini Countryman, shall we? You were talking about it a little bit during the open, and they're saying, of course, this is the time when it's revealed where we don't have a heck of a lot of information about it, but we do have the flowery pros. The
Yes,
new
we do.
Mini Countryman, the largest, most versatile Mini in the new Mini family, the first SUV for the brand. It's ideal for both the city and the countryside.
Well, aren't the other minis? Oh, well, anyway,
No, you can't drive them in the
you're not
countryside.
allowed to drive it in the city.
uh,
The fact is, Mini really is. It's been a work of genius since they were created
yes.
uh, by Isagonis was his name in 1959, I think, and now it's made by BMW, and they're fun to drive and efficient, good
Yep.
mileage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little, the little ones are short wheelbase, kind of not the smoothest in the ride category, but it's interesting that they're like everyone else following the SUV trend.
Yeah. I mean, this is an all four, so it has
Yeah.
four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, all four, which is I think a good name for it. It has what they call a reduced design language. Not quite sure what that
Okay.
means, but the front of the vehicle is distinct with the shape of its bonnet and a new octagonal front grille. And the mini LED headlamps accentuate the uniqueness of the reduced design through signature modes that can be selected by the driver. Reduced design, I do you think that means like they're making it less mini like?
Well, that's what it means to me. That may not be true, but yeah, maybe they're trying not so much to make it look like a conventional Mini, but make it like look different as an SUV, but just with enough Mini highlights that you know what the brand is.
The Union Jack on the tail lights and things like
Right.
that.
And the grill, the face of the
Yeah.
Mini.
But the face to me here does not seem like the lovable bulldog look really.
No,
It
it's
could
taken that
be
away.
it could
It's
be
it's a
anything, you know?
it's a more relaxed look.
Yeah. It offers a 218 horsepower in European trim from a smooth 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. In U.S. trim, they turn up the wick a bit. Will offer 241 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, which is a lot
That's
for a
quite a
small
bit.
for a small vehicle. Innovative materials, dashboard with two-tone textile creates a warm and welcoming feeling. Panoramic glass roof for more light in the interior. Adjustable lighting. I always liked lighting when they do lighting at night in a car. You know, different things like
It's fun.
the
Uh,
footwell light. I always thought
yeah,
that was kind of cool. And then high resolution OLED display. They're still doing that resolution in the center. Giant circle. 9.4-inch diameter. It has a high quality glass surface,
right.
and it is electronic. And they still has the toggle switches and things like that you're used to from all minis. So it is going to the Mini Countryman S, all four, will have a starting base price, Les Jackson, of $38,000, plus a very inexpensive, for these days,
Yeah.
$995 destination.
as things go these days, interesting. It offers up to 20-inch wheels, so
which will
sits pretty tall.
sits pretty tall. I wonder what the ride quality is like on a small
Well,
vehicle. Would
I'm sure it's smoother in the sense that because it's not a short wheelbase anymore.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a Kia Sportage.
Interesting that they show it parked next to a BMW.
Well,
And on a
yes,
press photo. This is their press photo.
yeah, and they also have the shots in front of mid-century modern houses,
Yes. Yes.
uh, which I don't know if that means anything or not.
No, it's a design aesthetic and
Yeah,
apparently an old hotel.
that looks like a hotel in New Jersey, somewhere.
Somewhere
But
you don't talk about. Yeah.
no,
Um,
exactly.
yeah. So it will be available. Production starts in for the U.S. market around March 2024. So available after that. But there you have it. Look forward to driving it. And I haven't been in a Countryman in a while.
I
So
haven't either.
so I look forward to driving it. Interesting, the seat backrest has a 40-20-40 ratio. So you have three pieces that you can put down. You can keep the center down if you just have a long item to put,
Your skis.
yeah, your skis and still get passengers in the back. And then or you can put it all down. I wonder, do they don't have a husky version of their off-road capability, do they? I don't think so. Like
I don't think so.
all the other manufacturers are going to these things where they want it to
Yeah,
look more off-roadish. They have
that's
more
right.
cladding. They have it raised up higher. I don't think Mini has that. Who knows? Maybe they will have one of those in the future, right?
Uh, not a Mini, but I saw a couple days ago. I saw a Wrangler, Jeep Wrangler, with a what do you call that? The plastic uh, material that you can cover an entire car with.
Oh, you mean it was a prototype?
No, no, no. It was it was a few years old, but it was one of these wraps that you
Oh,
can put on a
wraps.
car, and
Yes.
the wrap was nothing more than the Wrangler with mud all over it. And
That
I was right next to it, and I thought, well, that thing got muddy when it was. But then I realized that's a wrap. That's what he wants it to look like.
Do you know there's spray on mud? If you
Yeah,
wanted
well,
to,
yes, I've seen that advertised.
yeah. So
I think
that's
that's rather sad.
yeah, it is sad. It is sad.
But hey,
It's like it would be like someone paying someone to have a Facebook profile that showed them traveling around the world, just Photoshop them into,
yeah,
look at them, big groups of friends and that. It's sort of, I don't know, it's just dumb.
yeah. I don't know what you're trying to prove with that, but hey, I
Th- there
I
are
don't condemn anybody's taste.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what you want.
exactly, exactly. You're listening to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staub and Les Jackson getting into it and checking out what's going on. Let's talk a little tech, Les. Let's talk about fuel cells. Now, look at this beautifully packaged fuel cell system. Of course, you would still need batteries for this, but look
Right.
at what a beautiful job Honda did
It
packaging them.
really is just a handsome, um, just incredibly well packaged. That's real engineering.
It sure is. This was shown in Brussels, Belgium. It's in the prototype stage. It's a drivetrain being developed for a wide variety of applications, including hydrogen electric cars, commercial vehicles, and construction machinery. Wouldn't it be a great at home generator?
I was thinking that very same thing.
Because think about it,
Boy,
you could have easy battery storage, those wall batteries that, you could put in your garage or somewhere and store it up and have this quiet. They're quiet, aren't they?
They're almost completely silent. There's little cooling fans in them. That's it.
Yeah. Wow. The only problem would be how would you get hydrogen to it? You'd have to have it
Well, you
delivered in
just
a
get
tank.
industrial tanks of hydrogen from the air gas.
You'd need.
Get 1,000 gallon tank
Hmm.
filled. If you wanted to, well, I wouldn't. I mean, unless you were living in the. If you do that, if you were living in the mountains and that was your only electricity,
Yeah. It's. Are they set up to deliver to the home? Is it legal to deliver to the home hydrogen?
uh, well, sure.
Okay.
I mean, you can deliver hydrogen, to companies that need it for manufacturing, and yeah,
And so this system, the first system, will end up in a hydrogen powered CRV and will be sold in North America and in Japan starting in 2024. Oh, my.
yeah. And of
Uh,
course, they've been making the Clarity for, oh gosh, at least 15 years. I drove one at least that long ago.
I think they are stopping production of that, if I read somewhere.
Well, I
And
think so, but
this is going to
they've been in
be.
this a long time.
What about for light delivery trucks and things like that? It would be great, wouldn't it?
It would be. Also for any kind of warehouse use
Mm-hmm.
where you need, you know, instead of battery electric um, forklifts and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, this is again, this is one more little piece of the future.
Yeah. And I really like it for a generator system because it would be quiet, and you could run it for a
Yeah,
long period of time. So excited to drive it. Air out. I like that. That's your exhaust, basically,
that's
right?
it. You get
Air.
air and drops of water,
Oh, okay. So you can
and it's pure water. I've actually had a glass full of fuel cell exhaust and drank it.
So if you didn't want to drink it, if you had this outside, you could just, save it and water the plants with it, basically.
Sure.
Yeah. Just great job, Honda. Great packaging. We talk about cars that look like they're buildable. This looks like you could drop it into something pretty easily.
I suspect that's how they've designed it.
Wouldn't it be crazy to drop this into like an old pickup truck and just keep the outside like an old
Be
pickup
neat.
truck? And
It'd be
then,
neat. I don't know. I don't have any of the dimensions of this thing.
no,
But to me, I suspect it's about the size of a Mazda rotary engine.
maybe. I was going to say, could it be the size of just a four-cylinder engine, regular gas, like 2 liter
Oh, I
engine?
would. Yeah, I would say
I
it's
don't know
not any
what
bigger than that.
don't know what it weighs. We don't know anything about construction equipment. That would imagine, at a construction site where you're building in the city and you don't want to have diesel exhaust, that
Yeah.
it would be great. Um, so interesting stuff. But let's think about all the aspects for the future, and it doesn't all have to be electric. Although, let's face it, a fuel cell is an electric. It is.
It's producing electricity.
When you think about that RAM that has the engine on board that charges the battery, basically
Hmm.
that's what this is. It is charging the battery by in a very, very clean way by using hydrogen to generate electricity. So you could have an endless range vehicle as long as you had hydrogen. Um, when do you think this will take off? Fuel cells. I mean, we talked a lot about it.
Well, it'll take off whenever it does. It'll be quite slow because it's all about the hydrogen infrastructure.
Right.
And as that becomes the byproduct of more and more and more new technologies, then I mean, it's the most abundant material in the universe, but you need to get it away, get it out of oxygen or get it out of whatever it's combined with. So right now, electrolysis of water is the way it's done.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it by reformulators of natural gas, but that has pollution. Um, it's getting cheaper and cheaper to do it.
I worry.
So,
I worry that most, when government gets involved, they're here to help. They'll just say, "Oh no, it all has to be regular battery electric cars," and they don't realize
oh no, they won't do that.
technically it is this. I mean, if there's anyone, hopefully they're talking to people that know what they're talking about, and not
Yeah,
just
no, they're
people
not.
giving them great vacations and
Yeah. No,
and
that's only the Supreme Court. It's the other guys actually have to report that stuff.
yeah, they have to if they do. But anyway, you just got to look for the full solutions. Once again, too, trucks. Trucks that need to keep rolling. This could be great for, right?
Scale it up. Yeah.
Scale it up, and you can have a bigger tank in it. And then people will say, "What about hydrogen? Is it going to blow up like the Hindenburg?" If they still remember the
Much
Hindenburg.
safer than gasoline.
Yeah.
It
So
really is.
yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. I love it though. I love the packaging. Great
Yeah.
job, Honda. It's really a cool thing. And while we're on battery technology and other technology, we should harken back to something we talked about on cruise control not that long ago, and that is solid state batteries that can get much higher range, much more power density. They can recharge in 10 minutes or so, and they don't use some of these rare earth uh,
Right.
minerals, I guess you would call minerals or metals
Both actually, but
that
mostly metals.
that come from places that are not the best to deal with.
Uh,
Or
Unstable places, I think, would be the word.
right, and they have 5-year-olds mining it too, so that's probably not who
Yeah.
you want to
Yes.
sign on with, to build your stuff or supply your raw components. But so we talked about this, and you and I once again talked about Toyota. We were talking about Toyota as one of the most trusted brands. They came out and said, "Look, we're going to go solid state batteries. You're going to get eventually 700 miles of range and be able to charge it up in 10 minutes." And obviously you hear that and you say, well, that's a game changer. That if I can, that's more double the range of even some of the
Yeah.
longest range
And
vehicles out
it
there.
is a game changer.
Yeah, and quick charge. You can't. I don't know how long it would take you to pump the equivalent amount of gasoline to get 700 miles of range, but
Well, let's assume you're getting 30 miles to the gallon, so it's like 25 gallons.
yeah. So anyway, we all got excited about that. But now it is the reality is setting in, but it's not surprising if you know how things are developed and how technology is launched. It's going to not be a mass launch right away. It's going to little by little um, be rolled out. Now, the automaker in Toyota Times, the Toyota said the initial annual production will total around several hundred tons of these batteries, probably meaning that they will first appear in a Lexus vehicle, a high-end vehicle,
Right.
and it's not going to be, let's call it a Corolla level item
No,
just
because
yet.
you need when you're making hundreds of thousands of Corollas and RAV4s and every other Toyota, you need much more tonnage than that. You need hundreds of thousands of tons.
So for the near future, you will still be using lithium ion batteries. There'll be a mix of battery
Right.
technologies. But I do,
Well, but it all comes slowly.
yeah,
Look how long it took to clean up internal combustion engines.
oh yeah, that's true. That's true. And now they're pretty clean. They certainly are pretty clean.
They are internal combustion engines are 183 times cleaner than those in 1970.
Wow. You know,
Just finished writing about that.
while we're talking on that, and we're still talking on Toyota, they came out with the Camry, which we talked about, their new Camry, which we talked about last week on Cruise Control. They revealed it in the LA Auto Show. It's going to be all hybrid. That's the only way you can buy it, all hybrid.
Hmm.
It is estimated that will save in the U.S. alone 48 million gallons of gasoline in 1 year. In other words,
That's
just from the new people buying a Camry that is now a hybrid. I mean,
yeah,
that's
just yeah,
amazing.
the one that is um, that's well, if every no, if I was thinking if you gave everyone in America one of those gallons, it would almost be enough to give 1 gallon to every car on the road.
It's amazing.
Um,
I
but I would
mean,
like them to just give them to me.
I'm just a fan of hybrids. I'm a fan
Oh,
of
I am too. It's
I
great.
mean, I'm driving the Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid right now, and this is a big square SUV. But I tell you, when you have to change lanes, that hybrid system kicks in, and you go. You can almost scoot between lanes if you have to,
Sure.
and it's great. It really is great. I mean, for a vehicle in the past that would have gotten 17 miles to the gallon to get the mileage it's getting and
Hmm.
have great drivability, I almost think every vehicle should be a hybrid.
I I go along with that. I think for the time being, it's the way to go. And in fact, almost all the manufacturers are offering a hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, you can. It's fine if you have a small vehicle. You want to keep the price down, and you're getting 40 miles to the gallon without the hybrid system. That's fine. But I mean, especially larger SUVs and things like that really should be hybrid. And I think manufacturers should get on that. And it's that's my view. I don't think we're quite ready to go all EV yet until things like these solid
Not
state
well,
batteries,
no, no infrastructure.
infrastructure, and a lot of things. I just think it's a product in development yet, and it will get better. But that's my view. As I say all the time on the show, I would wait. I just would wait to buy a full electric
Yep.
vehicle unless you really want it. But then I would lease it because it's certainly going to be the ones that are out now will be looked at as the
And we've already reported that the ones that are out now have a rather dramatic depreciation rate.
yes. I don't know what the depreciation rate is on a vehicle like this, but this is
Mm.
the last of the breed, a Mulsanne, uh, named after the Mulsanne Strait, which was 3.7
Yeah,
miles
that's right.
long at Le Mans, the longest straight run of any racetrack in the world, and they couldn't shorten it, so they put two chicanes in it because people were like, you go like 3.7 miles and there's a turn at the end. And racers are going to go right up to the last minute before they can and lift, right?
Well, yeah, and basically in the 70s, the cars got too fast and it was too dangerous, so they put a chicane
Yeah, two of
in
them.
to slow you down. Two of them, that's right.
Just a little fact: there used to be, I guess there still are, two restaurants where you could sit and watch the racing, and enjoy a wonderful French meal. But since they put the chicanes in, it's not as exciting, they say. But
That's exactly right. There is one track which is not a public racetrack that has a longer straight, and that's Volkswagen's test track in Germany, where they've tested the Veyron and the other Bugattis. That's about 5.5 miles,
oh man,
dead straight. You
Terminal
need that.
velocity, huge.
You need that distance, even though you've got massive horsepower. It just takes a long time to get that speed up.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's talk about this Mulsanne. Interesting because probably wouldn't take this car out on the racetrack. It is for touring and cruising, isn't it? It's a beautiful, beautiful car.
It's really beautiful.
The last one ever built, it served the Queen. The Queen was a car person. She loved cars. She enjoyed cars, had a collection of cars, and appreciated nice cars. And this is certainly a wonderful one to be driven around in. Who wouldn't want that? Is luxury. Although I'd like driving it, but I wouldn't mind sometimes just being driven. Beautiful car, and it served as one of her vehicles, powered by 6.7 liter V8, 537 horsepower. This one had convoy lights, front blues, rear blues, a bullhorn, and a siren. Not your typical Bentley option package.
No, I'd like to. I'd like to have that in my car.
I love the color of this.
It is a really beautiful color. I wonder if we can find out what the name of that color
I
is.
have that Barnado green, and
Ah,
and the interior is twine and Cumbrian hide. I guess that's how you say it. Burlwood, burr walnut wood veneers and deep lambswool carpet. Perfect for a queen or anyone. Perfect for
yeah.
you, Les Jackson, to be
It is perfect for me.
go to the grocery store and be driven to the grocery store.
I would give them $2,000 for this car.
It's used after all.
By the way, a silly piece of trivia. I've seen Jaguars and Land Rovers, um, but also Rolls-Royce and Bentley own these huge walnut, very, very old walnut um, tree stumps
Mm-hmm.
because that's where they get most of the veneer, and they've owned these and they shave off the veneer from them year after year after year and keep them in library folders. And
Wow.
I've seen Jaguars and Land Rovers. I've not seen the ones that Rolls and Bentley have, but something else to see this huge, beautiful stump that's just been like a scalpel has is
Sliced it.
taking thin sheets of it,
Yes.
and it's worth a whole lot of money.
Incredible. Incredible. Um, but I do love that color. That is
Yeah,
that.
that is just a rich but not gaudy color.
Yeah. Perfect for royalty if you're going to be driven around. That was one. I don't know if you watched it, but the Crown, they would show up in those beautiful Rolls Royces with a chauffeur, and I just thought, wow, that's nice. Beautiful cars. If you
Yeah, we
watch the
watched
show,
we watched the Crown. Cool stuff.
cool stuff, and even had Minis in it, and Jaguars, and MGs, and all kind of stuff like that. I thought whoever handled the cars for that show, they had some nice ones, didn't they?
That's, I'm sure, a very coveted occupation and one that's very demanding.
Yes, yes. So beautiful stuff. Well, let's talk about, since we always go the full range here, the Crown Vic. And this, there
I
are
love it.
the last two Crown Vics, Ford Crown Victorias. They used to be the only cab in New York City. They were everywhere, right? For a long time. And the last two that are New York City cabs, there's a 2011 and a 2013. When they went in to be inspected, they had their meters pulled because you're only allowed to keep a car for 7 years. But they extended that during COVID, but it was time for them to both get their cars inspected. And Haroon Abdullah and Ravinder Shamar, who both had these things. One has 550,000 miles on it, and the other one has very low mileage, 491,000.
Oh well, that's just broken in.
Abdullah wants to replace his Crown Victoria with a Sienna, but doesn't really have the dough for it. And the other gentleman is 64. He wants to retire in driving the Crown Vic. Doesn't want to start anything new at that point. And they are appealing to the Taxi and Limousine Commission, who is the board that handles this in the New York area, to keep these cars going. But there's some thought that they won't do that.
What
So
do you suppose the suspensions on these things feel like?
I bet they're probably on their third or fourth front end. I would say, complete
I would
rebuild.
think.
You know, it was a great car, and I thought, why didn't Ford license it to someone to build? you know, with
Yeah.
maybe with one of their V6 turbocharged engines or something like that. It's a great car.
So the ones now, some years ago, the city bought some Ford Escapes, so they're gone too, huh?
Anything that's 7 years old is supposed to go
Okay.
away, and by the end of 7 years in that duty, pretty much it's
Yeah.
shot. Although I've seen
Three,
people
400.
buy it as a used car.
Oh
Uh,
man.
yeah, uh, pretty worn out. But yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. That was the best test for hybrids. They had
it
hybrid
was.
Ford Escapes, and they lasted a long, long, long time, and were pretty decent. You know what didn't take off that much was that Nissan van. There's still some of them around. Remember, there's
Yeah.
some kind of deal
Yes.
made to make that the official.
In fact, I we got one down here in DC to test
Yeah, I
in the
had one
press
as a
day,
press car. Yeah.
and I drove it around, and I got waved over a couple times by people who wanted a ride. So
Yeah.
I'd give them a ride, uh, but and I would explain right away. Say, look, this is a test car. I'm not going to charge you. Just tell me where you want to go, and I'll take you there. But
Right, a real world test.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it never went anywhere. It's
No. Well, I once again that should have been a hybrid. It should have been a hybrid,
right. Should have been a hybrid.
but they didn't do that. There's one company using Mustang Mach E's. I have to say, I don't know whether
Hmm.
it's just my opinion or what. It seems like the shine has gone off the Mustang Mach E. I don't see many people buying them anymore or talk.
Um, I think sales are better for it than sales for electric vehicles in general.
Okay.
But I don't see many around.
No. No. So will they keep these vehicles? I don't know. I mean, let's face it, they are pretty well at the end of their run. Uh,
Uh, I'd say you have to replace a lot of parts.
I used to get annoyed at the shows where they be like, "Oh, it's set in New York City," and then they show a guy getting into a checker cab,
Yeah,
in a movie or TV show. It's like those haven't been around for like
like
20
30 years.
years at that point. Yeah,
That's right.
and it's like I don't know who thinks that is up to date, but they just haven't been around for years. It just used to annoy me because it was dumb and it was, you know, kind of keeping people thinking they're going to see those when they come in there. But I guess like all things, it's probably time to retire those. I don't know. It just seems.
Well, it is a safety issue eventually.
Yeah. Well, maybe they could replace it with something like this. There's an Alabama Ford dealership selling supercharged 705 horsepower F-150 sleepers. He uses an XL normal regular cab in white. Starts with a 5-liter V8 and adds a Roush TVS supercharger, increasing the output to 705 horsepower, 635 pound-feet of torque. So you can upgrade your vehicle. Total price for this, let's see, is if you went the Ford route, they have a kit, a Ford Performance FP700 kit, that would add $12,350 to the vehicle, and the Ford F-150 XL starts at $37,145. But this dealer will do the whole thing for $46,998. It's done by a place called TC Customs,
Yeah.
and you can add stages and go up and get, the top one has like spoilers and stickers, but they showed one that I would get. It was a white pickup truck with steel wheels and
Basic.
basic, and I would, like I said, I would put like a ladder rack on the outside.
You know what I would do with that? On the doors, I would write in proper font, the electric company
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
or the phone company.
And put like,
Yeah.
102 on the truck, like it's a fleet
Right,
truck.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And have like a hard hat hanging in the back or something. Yes. I thought what I would do, that because a lot of people, I was reading the blog on this, well, you're going to have 750 horsepower with skinny stock tires. I would do like the old hot rodders. I would take the steel wheel, have it cut in the center, and a section put in, so you could have the look of the steel wheel, but you had a fatter tire, And if I got aftermarket rear end or something, I'd have it painted all black just to look like factory and put the chalk marks on it and all that. But that would be crazy, wouldn't it?
It would be. I don't know how much you would use this thing.
It'd be fun to take
Is
to
it?
the drag strip. Just have it like,
Yeah,
wait a minute, what
true.
this guy? Why is he on the track? And then, but
Man,
it's fun. Sleepers are fun. You don't know what you got. Um, as the song, didn't the Beach Boys song say that? You don't know what I got.
well, yeah, that the age of the sleeper
Yeah.
was the late 50s through the 60s.
Yes. Yes. Pretty cool. Town and Country Ford in Alabama. Because I was intrigued by that Ford Performance kit. We have a mutual friend, Kevin, who had he put the Ford Lightning drivetrain, the original Ford Lightning drivetrain, into a Harley Davidson pickup truck. And I wanted to say, hey, one of these F-150s with the supercharged engine could be like the modern day version of what you built,
Yes, it could be.
But cool stuff. Cool stuff. You know what would be really slick, and it wouldn't be a sleeper anymore, but you shorten the bed to make it a short bed because that's not available. So you chop it down 2 feet
Yeah.
and make it a short bed pickup truck. SEMA, here we come. That's something they would do.
That's
right?
it. Home Depot, we're not going to visit you.
Sawzall, get ready. I got plenty of new blades.
Yep.
Hey, we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. Don't forget to check us out at all our social media outlets, our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, and all that and more. You can check out a lot of our reviews and things like that. Coming up next hour, stick with us because we're going to talk about big dealer markups. They continue on. They've almost become like a regular bit of business, and you won't believe, Les Jackson, the model that is being marked up now. So
Yes.
we're also going to talk about the Elantra N, which has got a lot of interesting tech in it, motorsport-derived tech. And then it's the end of the UK version of Top Gear. That's it. They're giving it a rest, as they say, indefinitely.
A long, long rest.
Yeah. James May actually said maybe they should rethink the format completely. And he might be right about that. Maybe it's time to freshen it up.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to have one of your favorite events, a mega edition of As the Tesla Turns. A judge said Musk knew all about autopilot having problems, but looked the other way. Congestion pricing hits the supercharger network. Cybertruck delivery the delivery day is coming up, but they're only going to deliver 10. And Tesla got into the insurance business, and it was a disaster, according to many people. And then,
We told you so.
yes, and then this is not a story about narcissism, but it could be. Is blowing your own horn a constitutionally protected right? If you're an influencer, blowing your own horn
That's
is
right.
just a course of.
I'm going to say no.
Well, there's a lawsuit out there now, and we'll tell you about it. And I got behind the wheel of this Crosstrek Sport, Subaru Crosstrek Sport. Very new. I enjoyed it a lot. Spoiler alert, I enjoyed it a
I
lot.
did too when I took a drive in it back in October. Really liked it.
So we're going to have a full review of that and tell you what's new. It is their best-selling model, and with good reason. It is a nice-looking vehicle, very useful and very capable, like all Subarus. So we will talk about that and more when we come back on the second hour of Cruise Control. So stay tuned, and we will be right back.